everyone, and welcome back to another edition of the Broad Podcaster with me, Jennifer Fierro, here in the Highland Lakes, joined once more with Art Dlugach, the voice of the Llano Yellow Jackets. Art, we are one day away. It's Thursday, Friday night, and this weekend, all of our football teams are going to be back on the football field, and they are actually going to go up against opponents who don't share their locker rooms. How excited are you to see your Yellow Jackets back out on the field?
I could not be more excited. I'll tell you, we've been doing the podcast for quite a while, and she always introduces me as the voice of the Yellow Jackets. And in just a week or so or more, a couple of weeks, August 26th, I will be the voice as the Jackets open the season at Gerald. So happy about that. And on Friday night, Llano and Mason, a couple of teams with good records for a number of years, certainly for Mason, and Llano has won 40 games its last 5 seasons. So a good scrimmage in Mason on Friday night.
Yeah, I have not dived into this, but you brought up something. I saw this on Twitter from one of our counterparts in Austin. He tweeted out some milestone program victories that are coming. And there were about 8 different local teams from Central Texas. One of those teams was Marble Falls. That was 6 wins away from getting to 400 or 500 wins. I can't believe that it's only been that many. I have to go back and check. But because I wonder if that's, and surely not the last 20 years, maybe not. But because I would think you'd have to average about 10 wins a season in the last 20 years to get there, right?
Well, that'd be 200. 20 years, 10 wins per year for 20 seasons would be 200.
Okay.
But I doubt Marble has won 400 games in the last 50 years or so total. That'd be 80 a year.
Well, in the 90s, they were averaging.
Yes.
There was a run where they were averaging double-digit regular season records.
All right.
So, but that's why I'd like to go back and check, because Mustang football has been around since the 20s, I believe. So I'm sure that I would like to think, anyway, the program has surpassed 500, but I'd have to go and check.
Oh, certainly in 100 years, I would think they have.
Yeah, but anyway, I just thought it was an interesting list that came up on Twitter. Obviously, sports writers like to go back and forth on different things.
We love stats.
So, yes, we do. Yes, we do. Well, before we get really back into Marble Falls and Llano, I think we were trying to save some of that for later. I know your plan is to go to Mason to watch the Yellow Jackets. Can't wait to hear your thoughts on that. We'll get to that here in a little while. I will be at Mustang Stadium watching the Marble Falls Mustangs play Leander Glen. That's going to be a very interesting scrimmage, and we'll dive deeper into that. I think, though, we want to talk about the 6-man private teams, because as Marble Falls is hosting Glen, Faith Academy is taking the field against Bulverde Bracken at 7 o'clock on Friday night at Britton Field. I'm very curious about the Flames, in particular because I know they have about 20 players on their roster, but they lost 9 great seniors last year to graduation. And I do think that Stephen Shipley is entering this scrimmage with some question marks. I think he is wondering what these particular, especially on defense, what they are going to do and how they're going to look.
Well, when you lose a number of players that came from a team as good as they were last year, second in state, losing a narrow loss in the state finals, then you're hurting so much, or you think you might, but you'd know more about Faith than I would, and Stephen Shipley knows more than either one of us. So I'm sure that with the tradition that Faith has had, that the Flames will do fine. That's my prediction for 2022.
Yeah, it will be a big night at Faith Academy. They are also doing their back-to-school blast, and that will allow families to come in, meet the faculty members and the staff members at Faith, really take a tour of the campus, probably get their students or their children familiar where they're going to go. when they're going to have to be there, the best routes to get there. And of course, after that, the hope is everybody heads over to the football field and spends the rest of the evening watching a little six-man football.
That's a great night. The combination of education and the gridiron. I like that, and I think that's terrific for the teachers and the parents to get to see each other before the school year begins.
Yeah. Well, the thing that Stephen pointed out today when he and I talked, and I have a story on TexasChalkTalk.com previewing this particular scrimmage. He noted several different players that he highlighted. While we can always talk about the players of the past, really he's very curious to see what the players this year look like. Cade Shaw, Cross Sanchez are two of the speedsters. They're going to pose problems to a lot of defenders because of their speed. They've got Carter Fromberg, who in six-man you really don't have a quarterback, right? I think you can explain that better than me.
Well, only that the quarterback takes the snap, of course, but he cannot run with the ball until he has lateraled it off and then he gets it back.
Okay, there we go. Well, Carter is the rare combination in six-man that he can do both equally well. He can throw very well, he can run very well. And then the other great thing about where the Flames are right now is that there are two players that are battling for center. And I know that's kind of an unusual thing in six-man because we hear those battles a little more in 11-man, but especially in six-man that's a big deal because a lot of times your center may also be your lead blocker. So Ian Smiles and Van Gundy are really trying to battle each other for that starting position. The good news is it doesn't look like you can go wrong with either one because both of those players will be needed throughout the season. Whoever doesn't get to start on offense is probably going to switch over and start on defense. So it's a great thing to have.
Well, as you pointed out, it's interesting that the center position, something I certainly have not talked about as much as I should have the number of years I've been watching football, but to give a shout out to those two, I think is really good. And if it's a snap by shotgun, then it certainly is a very important position for sure. And most snaps these days seem to be that way. I shouldn't say that. Plenty of teams are snapping from under center too.
Yeah. Well, the reason that it's such an interesting to me, because in six-man, when you run the football, first of all, a first down is 15 yards. But it feels like when they want to run the football, they're starting 10 yards behind the original line of scrimmage to run. So it almost looks like they're running 20 to 25 yards to try to get a first down. And that, as somebody who grew up watching 11-man football, that's something that took me a while to get used to.
So the only thing I still have on my to-do list is to see 8-man football.
There you go.
And I guess that's out west somewhere. But I say this every week too, that if you get a chance to go see the Flames or Smoking for Jesus play, six-man football is a lot of fun.
It is.
Very much so for the spectator.
I'm glad you brought up Smoking for Jesus. They too will be scrimmaging. They are going to scrimmage at 6 o'clock on Saturday. They are traveling to face a six-man team called the Stephenville Knights. I know nothing about the Stephenville Knights. I didn't know Stephenville had a six-man team, but I'm not surprised by that because of the size of Stephenville with Tarleton State there.
Right.
And, you know, they obviously have a great high school UIL program there.
A lot of popularity in football in Stephenville, to be sure.
The Eagles won the last two state championships in the Texas Christian Athletic League. They've played for 3 consecutive, but they have changed leagues, as we noted. They are now part of a association called the Texas Association of Independent Athletic Organizations. And I'm still trying to figure out how they crown their state champion. I don't know. But I'll write something up on Texas Chalk Talk when I've had more time to talk to Charles Frazier, who's the head coach. He made a hire, Russell Roberts, who used to be the head football coach at Faith Academy, Coach Roberts is now the offensive coordinator with the Eagles. What has been great about that is that Coach Roberts has added more to their playbook. There are more tweaks, there are more wrinkles, and I asked Coach Frazier, well, how has the chemistry been between Coach Roberts and the players? And he said, love them. They love him. He said, Coach Roberts has come in, he's won the hearts over the kids, which doesn't surprise me for anybody who knows Russ Roberts. He's a great guy. But the kids have really responded to his heart. They've really responded, and they love the wrinkles that he's put in. He's put in some gadgets that have really excited the players. And so I'm curious to see if how much of that they'll unveil on Saturday.
Well, I met Coach Roberts, it seems like a long, long time ago at the Marble Falls Athletic Club, and he had retired at that point and said that he missed it. He missed being with the guys and coaching football. He had done very well at Wharton.
Yes, he did.
And two memories that aren't great for him. Burnett beat Wharton in 02 and 03 when the Bulldogs went to the state championship game both seasons. But he's just a prince of a guy, as Jennifer mentioned, and I wish him and Smoking for Jesus the best of luck. Is this their third year or fourth?
They have been at least 4, maybe 5 years that they've been playing. Boo Maxwell is the defensive coordinator, and that has allowed Coach Frazier, because now he has 2 coordinators, now he can game manage. And I compare it to what Jimmy Johnson used to say, that Coach Johnson would stand on the sidelines with the Cowboys, and he, depending on the situation and the time, the quarter and all that, he may say to North Turner, I want a heavy dose of Emmitt Smith. I want you to run the ball and just run and run and run. We got to control the clock. We got to wear out this defense. Just run the football. And that's what Coach Frazier, I think, compares his role to now. He can stand on the sideline and watch, observe, and then tell his defensive coordinators what he wants to see.
Well, that's a good one to be compared to, is Jimmy Johnson, for sure. And both are championship coaches, Johnson and Frazier.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt. That's all we have for segment 1. We still need to get into our public high schools. They, too, are going to be playing. Burnett is going to be traveling to Lago Vista. I can't wait to get your thoughts on that scrimmage. We're going to do that in the second segment. Jennifer Fierro, your broad podcaster. Art Dlugach, the voice of the Llano Yellow Jackets. Please make sure you like, subscribe, and share the channel.